Mallory here at Sycamore Spring, Allie, Jackie. We're going to talk today, we're going to start our conversation with a question that we get also often. Do I need to wear a corset? And I said corset this time because that's what most modern people call it. People who are in reenacting will also ask, do I need to wear stays? Which is the appropriate name for what we think of as corsets when you look at the 18th century. They were less about giving you the hourglass shape, but actually a conical stay shape. It makes everything stay where it's supposed to be, which is why it had that name. They weren't called corsets until the 19th century. But our main question, do I need to wear stays? And that is a complicated answer. If you're looking at the 18th century, all women would be wearing stays. Even young children, depending on the household, could be put in stays as young as 6 months to a year. You're getting stays very early, and it helps posture. They help give the silhouette that is appropriate for the 18th century. So stays were something that all women had. Sometimes even men, depending on what time period it is and what shape they wanted to have. But for modern reenactors, it's not something that we've grown up our entire lives in. So it is definitely a strange transition to stays. So I understand, and they're expensive. Let's be real. Stays they're pricey. So do you need stays? That depends on the interpretation that you want to give and how accurate you want your silhouette to be. You see a lot of people who are dressed like Jackie in her bedgown, or as she likes to call it,
the sweatpants of the 18th century.
They're very comfortable and relaxed, and this is more of a relaxed outfit. It's not as fitted to the body as a lot of other pieces. It is very chill. It's very popular for someone who might be working class, or a woman like Jackie with her hair. You can tell she's from a very fine household, affluent area. But she would wear her bedgown in the morning while she's getting dressed for the day, getting her hair done by her lady's maids. And it'd be something that could be a very relaxed garment, so you could get away with that. Again, not necessarily appropriate to the time period, I want to stress that, but it is something that if you want to be able to dip your toes into the water and you don't want to have to buckle down and spend $400 on a pair of stays or $350 on a pair of stays, that's where you start. Something more relaxed, like say a bedgown and petticoat outfit, if you want to stand up and spin around a little bit. Very comfortable, very flowy, lots of room. You pair it with an apron to cinch it in at the waist. It's got nice box pleats for sizing. But it is a lovely outfit that is nice and flowy and allows you to have modern curves that you wouldn't have seen in 18th century clothing. Our ladies behind us, my headless friends, are wearing short gowns, which are another fabulous option for easing into 18th century dressing. The short gowns are pretty loose, not quite so much as the bedgown. They have pleats in the back and they taper in at the waist and then flare out for the hip, so they help lend the look of that 18th century staid silhouette. And you can hide things as well though, because they're loose, they're not nearly as form-fitting as say a gown or a jacket like my lovely assistant Allie is wearing. Shall I stand? Yes, please do. And she is fabulous and 6 feet tall, so I hope her head is in the shot. But you can see from this piece, this is an 18th century jacket. It fits like it's supposed to, and actually this was not made for her, and it looks like it was. Bodices of the time period were laid across, they were made by mantua makers, and they were laid across the bodice of a woman and across her stays so that there were no wrinkles. You would want this to be wrinkle-free, keep spinning, darling, so that it looks and shows off this fine figure and her little tiny waist, and then give the nice flare for the hip. That is very, very much iconic of the time period. That is what you see in all the portraits and paintings. And this is very, very, very difficult, nigh impossible to achieve without stays, unless you are a very tiny person who is actually shaped this way, which it happens. So in that case, you know, make it work. But we're going to do later in this video a side-by-side of what I look like with and without stays. in this dress. So I'm going to stand up and join Allie. She and I have fitted bodices, and so when the mantua maker puts this piece together, she drapes the fabric around the stays, and that's what gives the nice flat look. And this is very, very difficult to achieve without the boning and the support that you get from a pair of stays. Unlike corsets, they are not nearly super tight. Like, you guys can breathe, right?
Oh yeah.
They're not hold the bedpost. We're not at all about that hourglass where it's cutting into you and digging. They actually fit and help you just stay in that position that they viewed as a very fashionable silhouette with the nice bum and the small, narrow, conical, I think, ice cream cone.
I could eat like 3 more slices of pizza in this.
I couldn't, but that's just because I've eaten far too many cookies in the last couple of months. So, with this, our next shot, you see me in this lovely gown where it fits quite nicely with stays. I'm going to do a shot without stays so you can see a side-by-side of what my garment would look like and why it is recommended that if you want to dress particularly as a upper-class woman and you want these silhouettes, that you need a pair of stays that fit you and allow for this silhouette better than just going al fresco with modern curves and modern undergarments. So voila! As you can see, I am fortunately one of those people who is kind of shaped like an ice cream cone, but not nearly as lovely as this gown was before. While it doesn't look terrible, it has these wrinkles. The front doesn't want to line up. It gaps in places because I don't have the reed boning that I was using on my stays to pin to and also keep that line nice and tight. I would need a busk if I attempted this al fresco. So yeah, this is just a side-by-side of with and without stays. Our thoughts on recommending them, especially if you want to dress like Mistress Allie here and have something that is beautifully fitting. And that's all for this video. Join us in a couple of hours as we post more. And I have no idea, but it sounds like the sky is falling.